Very good morning, ladies and gents, and welcome along to this, the Convene Breakfast. Great to have you here, and thank you so much for taking your time to come through the traffic. I know it hasn't been easy to get here. It's very wet outside, but of course it's nice and warm and dry in here. I'd like to say a big thank you to our sponsors here this morning for a magnificent breakfast. Of course, to Austin's Food Design Events. I think that is very deserving of a very big round of applause.
Rightio, so very simple to use on the microphone, and you don't need to get it too close to the mouth. It will pick up whatever you want to say from there. We've got 4 topics on the table: social media, PCOs, experienced personnel, and our large organisations, SINS, TNZ, EEAA and the like, and we'll go through those in a bit more. But here on stage with us we have 5 industry luminaries who will be exploring these questions and more off the floor, and they are Stephen Noble from the Conference Company. Stephen is the Conference and Events Team Manager at the Conference Company. He's been involved in managing conferences, corporate events and sporting tournaments both in New Zealand and overseas. Since joining the Conference Company, Stephen's managed a number of international conferences, and in addition to leading the Auckland Conference and Events Team, is currently managing New Zealand, Australasian and international meetings ranging in size from 500 to 2,500 plus participants. Stephen Noble, round of applause please. We have with us Natasha Duplessis, Scenic Hotel Group. So with a background in food and beverage at the acclaimed Savoy Hotel in London and the Intercontinental Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Natasha spent time with Hyatt International Hotels in Australia before journeying to New Zealand as catering sales manager at the Hilton Auckland in 2000. 2003, she filled the same role at the world's only 7-star hotel, the famous Burj Al Arab in Dubai. With extensive sales and marketing experience gained in the formation of the Quadrant Hotel, Auckland, combined with Swiss Hotel Diploma in Hotel Management, Natasha is now Director of National Sales for Scenic Hotel Group. And Scenic Hotel Group operates 15 hotels nationally under the Heartland, Scenic and Te Waionui brands, and have recently opened the first overseas Scenic Hotel in Tonga. This is Natasha Duplessis. Joining us all the way from the blustery south, we have Ali Copeman from AKB Conferences Limited. So Ali is a SINS-endorsed professional conference organiser and certified event manager. She's Managing Director of AKB Conference Management Limited, and she established this in 1999. Based in Dunedin, but operates throughout New Zealand, managing 5 to 8 large conferences a year. She's the Director of the Board of the Otago Chamber of Commerce and chairs the OBIS Committee and the Tourism Committee. She also sits on Otago Polytechnic School of Business, PEAC, advising on course content in relation to their business, tourism and event management diplomas and degrees. Ali is active in social media via LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook, and is known for creating @Dunastana, which Tourism Dunedin developed into its own domestic campaign. Ladies and gents, Ali Copeman. Joining us with a fantastic piece of technology, which I hope you have already taken advantage of, which is Show Gizmo, is Josh Dry. So Josh has finished studying marketing management and psychology at Otago University in 2009 and moved quickly into an entrepreneurial space by starting a student tax return company and onenight.co.nz, which is New Zealand's premier festival ticketing agency. He now leads the marketing activities for Smart Show, taking Show Gizmo to the world on and offline, including organising Event Camp Down Under and Event Camp Middle East for the past 2 years. Josh strongly believes in sustainable practices and prides himself on being green. He's very interested in high-tech innovation, marketing, social media and anything New Zealand. Josh travels quite a bit with Show Gizmo to events and talks on social media, events marketing as well as event technology, focusing on mobile event apps, their evolution, how best to deploy them at your events and where they're headed. Josh Dry. Joining us up from Wellington is Björn Spreiter from Tourism New Zealand. Björn is the Business Development Manager for Tourism New Zealand, forsaking his native Germany to be an incredibly strong proponent for inbound business tourism. Björn led the trade team across Europe and prior to that worked in marketing out of Munich. He leads the business events team in Wellington, and with his team, including longtime New Zealand industry luminary Leonie Ashford, Björn tackles the age-old New Zealand issue of creating the best possible results with limited resources. Björn's team is responsible for managing the CAP fund, partnering with PCOs, venues, convention bureaus and the like, and pitching for and securing international conferences. Ladies and gents, Björn Spreiter. So we'll go back to the IML system, and we're just going to ask these questions that we have lined up for you, and we'll collate this information and use it a little later on. So if I can get you to pick up your handsets there, and I'd like you to answer these questions for us, please. The first one is this: how do you envisage your year, this year, compared to last year? 1, busier; 2, about the same; or 3, quieter. Looking forward. There we go. Oh, good, a lot of positivity there. Immediate results is good. 58% and they're looking at a busier year. Cool, so second question for you is this. When it comes to business events compared to last year, do you think your budgets are 1, looser, 2, about the same, 3, are they going to be tighter? There we go, so you're going to be busier and your budget's going to be tighter. So that's all. So that's seems to be the normal kind of practice, isn't it? We're going to do more work for less money every single time. So the next question for us here. Compared to last year, will your use of social media before, during and after business events, will it, 1, increase, 2, remain the same, or 3, decrease? What's your thoughts? Excellent, almost 60% there saying that there will be an increase in social media use. Interesting, last year when we did this business breakfast, we did talk about social media, and there was certainly a wide range of opinion around the use of it. We're certainly looking forward to hearing some of our panel's take on the social media aspect, and we'll move into that shortly. And our final question that we'd like to put out here is, in just one word, if you can, use the text function, but in just one word, what is the big issue facing the industry in 2013 and beyond? What is your big issue that you can foresee? In just one word, if you can, please. So just giving you a little bit of a moment there to think of your answer, putting it in text and then send it through. So we're going to have those in a bit of a word cloud. We're going to find out how many of those match up and see if everybody's got the same kind of big issue, or if we've got a huge range of issues that are approaching as we head through further into 2013. Right now though, time to engage our panel here in discussion, and the first aspect of it is going to move into social media. The question that we're initially looking at is social media enhancing events? And more importantly, how can we measure the ROI of the social media? So I'm going to throw this directly open to the panel. There's 2 people on our panel who have a very strong presence in the social media area, and this is Josh and Ali. So I think I'll throw this firstly open to Ali down the far end and say, how is social media enhancing our events?
I think it depends on the type of event you're doing. The e-tourism events, any e-conference, in fact, has a huge investment required with social media. We tend to do medical and academic conferences where the uptake isn't so much, because social media will only work with engagement. You can't be out there talking to yourself, you actually have to be engaging with the people that you're trying to converse with. And if people don't understand social media, you're not going to get that investment back. So, and that's about educating, making sure that you as any event managers or anyone using social media lets people know what their handle is, what the popular hashtag is. Now the hashtag for Convene is Convene 2013, and I think there's 4 or 5 of us actually using it. So that just shows that maybe we haven't got it right about social media and how to use it properly, but we need to. It is such a powerful tool, and it can be a great investment if it's done properly. If it's done badly, it can crush your brand.
Thanks, Ali. I just want to get a quick show of hands. How many people have a hashtag? How many people use Twitter?
It's not a hashtag, it's a handle.
A handle. Thanks, Ali. It's a wonderful opportunity as a learning experience for all concerned here on stage. So can I just hands high in the air if you can? Okay, so around about a third of our room is on Twitter.
And can I pose a question? How many of those people have Twitter for business who use it under either their event brand or their company brand for business? So that's about the same. Maybe most of those people had their hands up earlier for that business account. Agreeing with what Ellie is saying, I think social media can do a huge amount in enhancing events if certain principles are looked after. Obviously, telling people what your handle is, ensuring communications of what the Twitter hashtag is for the event, getting that out. And then when you're looking at investment, I mean, there's not it's not much investment in social media. If you're setting something up for this event, you just need a champion, someone in your marketing department, one of your organising team members, to really just take that, run with what you are trying to achieve. Is it reach of your data? Is it passing on and sharing knowledge? Is it gaining more followers in certain countries or overseas? Is it, we've got these guys filming today, is there going to be short clips of these videos being posted online showing people what we did this morning? You really can achieve some great things, and it doesn't take much investment. And asking somebody to invest their time, all social media channels are free. We tweeted just before we came on stage a photo, took 2 seconds to send that tweet out. So the investment really isn't much. If you focus on your objectives and ticking off certain principles, I think what you're trying to achieve and what you can achieve is astronomical. Because it's a worldwide thing, we can easily tweet now. If all of us in this room were to tweet right now with Convene 2013, that would trend across New Zealand. People follow what is trending and people would see about this conference right now. Obviously that would get us access to media, it would get us access to further people abroad, hosted by us that may come over next year. So you really can tick off some objectives of making media, spreading the reach, and getting more attendees, even remote attendees. We could be streaming this online, people could be watching that. So it all depends, it does depend on what type of event you are running, but it depends on your objectives and what you're trying to get out. But if it's the fact of just you getting people to talk and engage, you just need a marketing manager or someone that can understand Twitter to just champion that, get communications out there, and I think you can achieve some really great things. For me, I think categorically social media can enhance events and will continue to do so.
Thanks, Josh. I'm just thinking in terms of having a champion to look after, certainly from Twitter, I imagine you would be looking at a champion to look after all of the social media, one particular person to do it. Is that a viable thing, considering that relatively across our industry, we're made up of relatively small organisations, very, very busy. We saw from the questions earlier, we're expecting things to get busier and for budgets to be tighter. How much time and how much focus does it take to actually maintain a social presence?
If I can jump in there first.
Please, yep.
There are so many platforms out there where you can, and TweetDeck is one I use. There's Hootsuite, and what it does is it links my AKB conference management page on Facebook. It links my Twitter page for AKB. Also links all my personal page, because I'll be one of the people that have more than one handle. I have business, personal, and an anonymous handle. And for those great sub-tweets you want to put out. And you can. So one tweet from a TweetDeck, from TweetDeck or Hootsuite actually goes across those 3 mediums. So it isn't time. I tweet everywhere. People say to me, "God, you over-tweet," and I go, "I'm waiting for a doctor's appointment. I'm waiting for a client. I'm sitting at the lights." You just send out a tweet by voice activation, Cyril. It's all voice. But it can be done very simply with little time.
Yep.
I agree. I use Hootsuite as well, and exactly the same thing. Have all my accounts. I can put out a message across 5 accounts at the click of a button. In your team, I think everyone has someone. Hopefully, event teams. They aren't just one person. You just need to find the person who is most social, who understands that. Hopefully, someone part of your marketing team. Otherwise, I'm sure the experience of the PCO will come in at some stage, won't it? Telling the client what to do and how to manage those properly. But
that's one of the things too. You don't want to pick the youngest person in your team. The youngest person in your team is not necessarily the best face for your brand. Often they slightly naive, that they forget that once you put it out there, it's out there for life. And I have seen brands crushed because someone on their team put out something, and you see it all the time, you know, especially in the UK, someone puts out something from a personal perspective, it is actually an international or multinational brand, and it gets crushed. And then everyone, the PR people in the company, the marketers have to suddenly come in and try and get it, because it is viral. That one tweet or that one Facebook update goes viral as soon as it's a negative thing, and you see it all the time. And for the bigger brands, you've got to watch how you are putting out your brand, because these days brand is where it's at. And if you get the wrong handle or the wrong hash, or you put someone who's naively, you know, straight out of uni and they think they know everything about social media, it can go so wrong. But it's about engagement.
Can I just get a check off the floor? Does anybody have any comments around social media or questions? Yes, please. Please use the IML system if you can.
I was just wondering, you asked for a show of hands of the people that tweeted earlier. I wondered how many people in the room actually have a smart device with them at the moment. And so that might give an indication of the level of engagement, which might sort of make us wonder why people aren't tweeting at the moment.
That's a very good idea. So actually, a show of hands, if you have a smartphone or a smart device, can I get a show of hands, please? Righty-ho. So, so there's no real reason why we wouldn't actually be into the social media space, apart from engagement, basically.
So if you are interested, sorry to jump in there, if you are interested in what goes on Twitter, without needing an account, you can simply follow today's hashtag through the event app. So if you have Show Gizmo, everyone can download that to their phone, and you can follow what is being tweeted through the official hashtag there. So another way of following, engaging, and then if you like what you see, jump on. I'm sure me and Ali will give you a tip or a few just to get your handle going, and you can start tweeting today.
Brilliant.
And then
Thanks,
it becomes
Josh.
addictive.
Get a question on the floor here?
I just wanted to say, like before, when I got embarrassed about my striped shirt, I was actually tweeting saying, "Hey, look, really great," and all that sort of thing. But I was in Australia yesterday at another function, and I couldn't believe how many people were actually tweeting at the start. We had about 20 people in the first half an hour. We're here at the moment, we've only had about 3 or 4.
So we've got a much bigger take-up in the Australian market.
What type of event was it?
It was a trade show like this.
It's interesting though, because some people still say, look, there is a photo in the ODT. Stephen Joyce opened Toitu, which is he actually launched the DCC economic strategy policy. And there's a photo, Stephen Joyce standing on a lectern like that, and there's a crowd, separate photo, but there's only a thin white line between this photo. And on the right-hand side of the photo, there is me, front row, with my phone out, and the number of negative phone calls I took from people saying, "You were tweeting or texting when the minister was talking." And I went, "Look at the photo. He was talking, but you don't know when that was taken." And in actual fact, what I did was I turned off my phone because I did not want to be caught texting or tweeting or anything while he was talking. And in all honesty, I turned off my phone, and that's what I got caught doing. And I thought, oh my God. And we still find it very rude to sit there with your smart device. And I did it yesterday. I tweeted right throughout the famil, and I do tend to tweet a lot of the times when we're at events. My husband's just going, "Oh, sake," I'm going, "No, but I'm updating," because I'm following a hash. And you know, Tourism Dunedin have done it very well. They won an award for their digital strategy, and they did do a marketing campaign around #Dunastunner. Now, not many of you in the room follow me. I know Claire does. And I use Dunastunner all the time. It's not about the weather, and everyone thinks it's about the weather, but it's about a great little company, or an awesome event that we've just done, or I don't know, anything. It can be anything. And they used that and took it for their summer campaign, and it just went viral. It was a good campaign. And that all came from a little handle I created. But it's worthwhile, but it's all about engagement. There's no point, as I said before, there's no point being on social media if you're not talking to people. And there's some major brands out there who just retweet, which is basically forwards a message. So, someone might say, the socks that I'm wearing from such and such a shop were fantastic. And that shop, all they do is retweet, retweet, retweet. Instead of saying, "Hey, that's really great, Ali, hope to see you again," an engagement, they've just gone, "Hey, she likes our socks. Now we need to tell everyone she likes our socks." So you've got to engage.
Cool, thanks, Ed. I'll take a question here. Can you use the IML things just so the whole room can hear the question as well, please? Just press it once. The microphone button, it's on the left-hand side. Yeah, just press it and yeah, that's it.
Don't you think there's an integrity issue in that if a brand embraces this, and I'm talking about a big corporate international brand, and endeavours to use this with a market like students, where they're not seen as having much alignment with that, they run the risk of actually having an integrity issue as well, because they're trying to talk in a way that actually doesn't link in with their brand at all. I mean, I'm talking about big corporate organisations who are endeavouring to sort of talk like students, for instance, or use their sort of language.
Do you know a brand doing that?
Yes. Well, why would I'm not going to say.
No. I wouldn't expect you to. It's just I can't. I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, Ali brought up before the young people, and you don't just want to grab the youngest person in your organisation. You don't want to go external either. You need to have someone internal, and that to me sounds like poor social media. They're not reflecting the culture of their brand, the culture of their company, and that is what you have to be doing the whole time.
You run the risk of ruining the brand.
Yeah, and I think. I again have multiple accounts and I talk on those in a whole different ways, but when I am talking in that language, I'm reflecting the core values of that business. So I think, that is a poor option. I think you're completely right, you are running integrity of that brand. And the next thing to happen is that people leave that brand and that brand will implode. And an imploding brand on the social media space is just like real life. You get very affected by that.
So I was going to also say, that we're talking about social media in quite a wider sense, and the one area that we're having, I suppose, an opportunity within the area that we operate is a closed network system, which might be addressing kind of what you were talking about. In the professional body societies, associations that we work with is around a closed network where the people, the members of that society can have a social media environment which is closed, protected, sensitive, if you like, so it's not out there in the public domain. I don't know if that's something that you're seeing more trends in, or...
Still out there though, because nothing is private online. Nothing. And if you think that anything you do on Facebook or anything you do on Twitter is private, then you're pretty damn naive. Because no matter what, if someone is following you, they can see exactly what you put there. So when I tweet that from my personal account about Miss G, I don't want her name out there in the public world, she's Miss G to the Twitter world, and I might be having a conversation, I could be atting to just Cyril and I having a conversation, but anyone following Cyril, anyone following me can see that conversation going on. If you want to have that conversation, do a direct message, tweet it, text it, or pick up a telephone and talk.
So what we're saying is that then, excluding Facebook, Twitter, which are the common, most well known probably in terms of social media, what are the opportunities in terms of an association that wants to have an internal Twitter or an internal environment that allows them to network with their colleagues without it being in the public domain? And that's...
So event apps like Gizmo have an internal messaging system, so you can keep that closed. And there's other apps such as Path, Storify. These things are all internal, locked off communities where we can talk. We can give people access, create our own little either chat rooms or places to talk about. But I agree with Ali. I mean, people can still download that data. They can still take photos of comment that you've said with your name beside, and I can tweet that online. That's the risk you face these days, that everything can be shared. So I mean, we can create chat rooms or apps for us to talk amongst ourselves. That's sort of what Convene 2013 is doing. We're giving ourselves a hashtag that we can all follow and see those tweets. But again, people are going to share that on social media. They have the ability to do so. Again, be it by taking photos or downloading and sharing. But I think you're right. I think internal message boards are a great way to go. Having internal chat rooms, and maybe more of these people would be encouraged to engage with us and one another if they knew that it was locked off and private.
I just wanted to add something around the big corporation as well, because as Tourism New Zealand, we obviously got a social media team, and they got the challenge to actually look after a country brand in the social media space. Luckily not me, so we've got experts doing that. And for them it's all, when I checked in with them before this year as well, they said it's all about being authentic, being real and being true to what New Zealand stands for. Yes, it is out in the public domain, so you have to be careful what you say, but as long as you're authentic, there's sort of a self-regulatory piece as well. If somebody criticizes what you say, there will probably be 20,000 other people talking back to the person, getting the right angle on it, if it's true, if it's authentic. So that's really the key, what Kelly in our social media teams, that's what she does. Really skilled in that space and really looking after that. What Kelly also brought to our organisation is a structure that we as a country have got two pieces in social media, and I'm sure Josh has got quite a few ideas about that as well, but we sort of split it up between earned social media space and owned. Saying owned are the messages that we post ourselves as a company. We give that a rating of 2. Earned is things that people, customers post for us, and we give that a rating of 4. So that gives you a bit of an idea where our value lies. Yes, the own content is great, but really get people talking about what you do. It's so much more credible. It's so much more credible with their peers. That's where the real value is. So it's being authentic, but also being loose, letting people talk about it. And New Zealand's wonderful because there's not much, too many contagious issues. It's really a nice topic people want to talk about, and we see it in terms of growth of interest in our social media platforms as well.
Thanks, Bjorn. Natasha, do you want to add something?
I was just going to follow up, I guess, from your question as well, and you talked about integrity, and I think it's just so important as well whenever you are wanting to engage and get into any sort of social media areas that you do know your demographic, you know who you actually are wanting to talk to, and you have different messages for different groups of your customer base. And I think that we can very easily get into social media, think how fantastic it is, we're going to engage with our customers, but unless you have the right message and you're communicating that that's authentic, that it is with integrity, and you're communicating with that right person, it's very, very, as you said, the corporation you referred to as well, it's very easy to get stuck. And as we know, once it's out there, you can't take it back. So it's just making sure that you know your client base and you want to make sure that you're communicating that message that is in turn going to bring that value back to your organisation as well. Because you're right, it's a very raw, brutal environment if you're not actually communicating the right message.
Thanks, Natasha. Thank you all very much on the panel. Any further points on social media before we move on? Yes, question here at the front first.
You mentioned trending, and if everyone in the room was to, hashtag Convene 2013, that would trend further out into the world. So how many numbers would that typically be? Would you be looking at just the amount of people in the room? Would you be looking at a couple of hundred people for it to trend?
Yep. So it starts off city-wide, so you can follow what the trend, and there's Auckland, what the trend, Wellington, so forth. So it's city-wide, and that's how small it starts off, and then it'll go national. Depends how busy the day is, obviously, and what else has been talked on this morning. We could jump on Twitter now and see what the top trends are for Auckland and New Zealand. But yep, if all of us were to tweet with Convene 2013 the hashtag, definitely this would trend nationwide, just by numbers, timing, and proximity, all being in the same location. So that would trend nationwide, definitely. And if Convene's goals were to get an international reach, or gain media, as I mentioned earlier, then that would be a great way to do that. And obviously, if we were to send a photo of the person next to us or the room, then that would be even better, because people would love to look through those photos as opposed to just messages.